So many collab IEMs have came out over the past couple of years, and while I cover a lot of Critical's collab on this channel, I've yet to cover a lot of HBB's collab. So in today's video, we're gonna go over all 5 of his collabs in great detail so that you can decide for yourself which one is right for you. And yes, I do have all 5 of them on hand right now: the Mele, the Kai, the Olina, the Mahina, and the Kind of Lava. Let's jump into them. Hey friends, Tim here, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio, and today we have a buying guide for HBB collaborations. All 5 of them, we're gonna go from the cheapest all the way to the most expensive one. Let's start off with the cheapest one right away, the Tripoen Mele. Now this was supposed to be a retune or a better version of the Blonde 03. Now the Blonde 03 needs no introduction. Everyone who's jumping into the hobby should have been introduced to this one already, or if not, already own a Blonde 03. Now the Mele is tuned very similar to the Blonde 03, but with a noticeable improvement in the upper mid-range. It sounds more realistic, more lively, more full, as opposed to the Blonde's more relaxing upper mids in nature. Now both IEMs are considered relaxing IEMs because the treble area is pretty tame. Some even call it dark. I personally wouldn't go as far as calling it dark, but it is very tame and relaxing. The good thing about that is that you won't get any sibilances, no fatiguing issues, none of that from this kind of treble. But you're not gonna get a lot of those little micro nuances either, like cymbal hits, and those higher instruments are not gonna come across as crispy as on sets with more treble or more air. The Mele is a signature that focuses a lot more on the low end, the bass, the warmth, and in that department it does really well. The bass and mid-range separation is generally clean. It has a little bit of warmth, but nothing to really color the vocals in a way that is unpleasant. And again, with the upper mid-range being lively, it balanced out the amount of bass you get here really well, and you do get a lot of bass. That is to no surprise. It is an HBB collab. So at the end of the day, who is the Mele for? The Mele is for someone who loves bass, loves warmth, but more importantly, it's for someone who wants a generally relaxing sounding IEM that doesn't sacrifice mid quality. Needless to say, the Mele at $50 completely replaces the Blonde 03. There's no reason to buy the Blonde 03 anymore. Not only is the tuning better, but also better details, better accessories, better build quality. Everything is better than the Blonde 03 across the board. Next we have the Kai by TRI. Now this one is tuned similar to the Mele, but more neutral, more well balanced. It has less bass and more treble, giving it more of a sparkle than what the Mele can deliver. Also more detail level than the Mele as well. The other noticeable change from the Mele is in the upper mid-range. The upper mid-range on the Kai is more relaxed. The Mele feels more forward, more lively, while the Kai takes a little bit of a backseat, not by too much, just a slight backseat in comparison to the Mele. For me personally, I prefer the mid-range of the Mele, but I prefer the bass response and the treble area of the Kai. So I'm kind of torn here on which one to recommend to you guys. I would say if you're into a more relaxing signature altogether, then the Mele is the choice for you. But if you want a little bit more of a balance, you want more treble, you want a little bit less bass, then the Kai is more of that neutral option for you. Just keep in mind the mid-range is a little bit relaxed as well. Personally, I wish he kept the mid-range of the Mele while keeping the changes that he did with the Kai. You know, the bass drop and the treble rise, all those are good. I just wish he kept the mid-range of the Mele. That would be like really good for me. But the little bit of drop in engagement in the upper mids is by no means a detriment. Some people might enjoy that even. It gives the Kai an overall slightly bit more relaxing feel than it would have been if the vocals were just as lively as the Mele. Detail level on this is a slight improvement over the Mele in the treble and the bass. It's just a more open sounding signature in general. More things are transparent to you on the Kai than the Mele, but when it comes to the mid-range, the Mele, the clarity of it is better than the Kai. Moving on, we have the Olina. Now, I do know that he's releasing an Olina SE. We'll talk more about that one once it's released or once he has the graph. But just for today, let's talk about the original because he's not discontinuing this. He's keeping this around, at least to my knowledge anyway. So yes, the Olina, $100. Some of the best details you can get under $100. So now you might ask me, why haven't I been talking about the Olina, given that I like the details on it so much? Well, the tuning is really not my preference, and it's probably the most different of all tunings in the HBB lineup. Now, the HBB lineup has a noticeable bass boost. He loves his bass. He loves the warmth. The Olina is basically the opposite of that. It has quite a bit of treble and also a lot of upper mid-range. Some might even call it shouty. I know for me it is a little bit too shouty for my personal enjoyment. The mid-range and the vocals are forward, yes, but a little bit too forward for me. It makes the bass feel like it's too far in the background and overall just more aggressive in signature. If you love a very forward vocal and you're not really sensitive to the treble area, mainly the 5 to 6K region, that area, I found out that I'm super sensitive to that. The HD560S has that and I absolutely can't stand it. The Olina has that and I can barely tolerate it. But if you're not like that, if you can stomach the 5 to 6K treble region and you love a forward vocal signature in general, then the Olina might be the only choice for you in the $100 realm with good details to go with it. Oh, and I forgot to mention one thing. The treble on the Olina is great. Really well extended, a lot of little micro nuances. That's the one thing that contributes to Olina's overall great detail level. It's the treble extension and all the sparkly little nuances that comes along with it. Next, we jump from $100 Olina all the way up to $600. I think HBB needs something in between, something 200 maybe, something 300 maybe. Bridge that gap a little bit because holy hell, that's a jump. $600, we have the Yan Mahina. This is an improved Moonlight. Now the Moonlight, if you know, is a vocal forward IEM, very well tuned. I really like the set, but I always felt like it wasn't as balanced as it can be. The bass was a little bit too little. So in comes HBB with Mahina, with the fix, with the bass boost. The signature is now more balanced and to me sound much better than the original Moonlight. Now, the original Moonlight is still good, of course. If you want vocals and that's all you care about, then yes, the original Moonlight. But this one, the Mahina, just so much more well-balanced, good bass and also good bass control. Same beautiful Moonlight vocals with the same good treble extension. Technical performance of the Mahina is also competent and competitive for the price, whether it's soundstage, imaging, or overall details. The Mahina does all of those great. So in summary, who is the Mahina for? I would say it's for anybody. It's such a versatile signature that you can play any genre on this. The bass quality and amount is good enough to play any metal songs or EDM song very satisfyingly. The upper mid-range and treble area is well done enough to play any vocals, male or female, though I would say female is gonna come across a little bit not relaxed, but not as sparkly as some other sets you can find at this price range. But again, that's more of a preference thing. If you want something sparklier, it's in the next set. And last but not least, we have Kind of Lava by Le Shores. This thing is my favorite. Out of all the HBB, I'm just gonna say it right now, this is my absolute favorite one. It's tuned incredibly well, really well balanced. It has a very similar tuning to the Monarch MK2, but with more mid bass. Now, a lot of people have complained that the Monarch MK2 doesn't have enough mid bass or have enough warmth for them. Here you go. The Kind of Lava is that. It's the Monarch MK2, just a little bit more mid-bass, a little bit more warmth. Now, it's not gonna have the same detail level of the Monarch MK2, I think I have to say that right away, but it is tuned similar with the changes that I talked about. This one is amazingly versatile. Good bass quality leading into a warmer lower mid-range to a correct and energetic upper mids and sparkly treble area. It just has everything you want in an end game level neutral tuning. And the detail level on this is competitive for the price as well. I would say the detail is slightly better than the Mahina even. Not by a long shot, but by a small margin. Now the Mahina is gonna come across a little bit more forward in the vocals, especially vocal imaging. The vocal imaging on the Mahina is more in the center, so vocals feel like they're right in front of you, as opposed to the Kind of Lava, which feels more open in general. So yes, if you want a more vocal-centered, vocal-focused experience, I still would recommend the Mahina. But if you're into a lot more female vocals and you need the extra sparkliness in the treble area, then the Kind of Lava is the way to go. And again, my favorite of all 5 HBB collabs. All right, that is it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've tried any of these IEMs before, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to go subscribe to HBB as well. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye.